Hey everybody. Hey Mike.
Hey Don.
How are you today?
I am magnificent.
Magnificent. That's another big word.
I meant majestic.
Yeah. Oh, well, majestic. That's another big word.
It is another word.
In a world where most podcasts sound the same, two guys talking about almost everything under the sun. Ladies and gentlemen, here is And Stuff with Don and Mike.
Really?
Come on! 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0.
So, which one are we going to use?
I'm majestically magnificent.
Yes.
That should actually go
Or magnificent. I can't even say the freaking word.
Wow. It is hot.
Yes, it is.
We're in the corner of hell
Yes.
with 1,000. I think it's actually 110.
It's about 109
Yeah.
here, but you know, once it gets past, I don't know, hell, who cares?
Yeah, we're just basically in hell.
So everyone, I want to introduce to you a really interesting cat. He does all kinds of stuff, and like we put on Facebook and Instagram, some of you might find it a little morbid, a little scary, a little different, and it truly is different. So without further ado, I want to say hello and want everybody here to say hello to Mike Nicholson.
What's up, Mike?
Hey, how you doing?
What's happening?
How you guys?
I can't wait for you guys to hear some of what Mike Nicholson has to say. And we'll get into this a little bit later. It's not his book, but it's about stuff he does.
Yeah. So Mike, why don't you tell us what you do?
We clean up what's called trauma scenes or crime scenes, accidents, suicides, homicides.
Wow.
Now it's dark, but it's definitely a part of life.
Yes.
So
Well, it's part of that
a
too.
part of death. It affects everybody, which is why we're kind of talking about it.
Yeah. And people are dying for you to come over.
Hey,
It's a real rewarding feeling when you finish and help somebody. They feel a lot better going in a place after it's been taken care of. So
I
it's
know the
very
feeling.
good.
You helped our family out, so yeah, I know exactly how it feels.
So tell me the process. Like you get the call. Who called you?
Gosh, property owners, police departments, just general public from the website, all kinds of different.
And what is your website?
CleanSceneServices.com.
CleanSceneServices.com.
If you ever needed services, there it is, and hopefully you don't. But now you know where to go. And this guy's the real deal.
Yeah, he's a true professional. So okay, so you get this call. Wellness check or whatever, and the sheriff okay. So take me through the whole thing. So you get a call, and then what happens from there?
Usually we'll get a call and they'll tell us that there's been a death that they need to clean up. And usually we ask them, has it been released by the authorities? We find out if it's been okay to go in. And once it's been cleared, we go ahead and go in and do what we have to do so they can re-rent the place or whatever they need to do.
Okay, so when you say it's got to be released, so the coroner comes out and they take the body away or whatever.
Right, and if they can identify the person and find next of kin, there's no hold, they just release everything to the
Oh,
next
that's
of
true,
kin.
huh? 'Cause
But
you-
a lot of times the body's unidentifiable. They don't know if it's male or female, so
Okay.
decomposed. And until
Wow.
they can find out who it is and who the next of kin is, they seal the unit. Nobody's allowed to
Is
go
that
in.
common?
Oh, very common.
So then,
Oh, wow.
so then the body continues to decompose.
No, they remove the body
Oh, okay.
and they seal the unit.
Okay.
Nobody can go in.
And that's to protect anything that's in it,
The
right?
personal effects,
Personal
yeah.
effects. Until they can find the next kin.
Right.
So, now without sounding too morbid, okay, let's say a guy just dies. And, I mean, what kind of, other than obvious, like if somebody offs themselves or stuff, there's bodily fluid all over the place. What is it, I mean, like, walk us through like a typical crime scene.
Well, like on a day like today, if someone was to pass away and someone didn't see them until a day or two, they'd start to decompose and lose body fluids. And we've had them where someone on the 3rd floor would leak down all the way to the 1st floor. So, I mean, there can be some really bad situations.
And it's
sometimes.
some bad stuff too coming out, right?
Right.
I mean, it's some major chemicals they're releasing.
Right.
So, is it true what they say about the flies and all that stuff?
Yeah, flies, maggots, ants.
So, is there? I heard somewhere, I was trying to do some research, and I wasn't very successful because I was up against the time. But I heard that they, and maybe I'm asking the wrong question, but I heard that they could tell the amount of time the person has been deceased by the stage of the maggot or whatever,
right.
of the larva.
Yes, that's true.
That's very interesting.
Right.
It is, actually. I've seen it in Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I did not know that, so I'll have to almost watch that.
We got to get your pop culture up to date, man.
Yes.
It'll help you in every department.
Yes.
So once you find, well, we kind of know that once the sheriffs or the coroners releases this thing, what's like the longest it's gone before you've been able to clean it up? Have you gone back like 5 years later after they find the next of kin, and then you go in and clean it up, or do you clean it up and then they seal it all up?
Usually, the longest I would say that I've encountered regularly is a month. It's something like that. But then there's also cases where they just don't find any family, and the public administrator, public guardian takes over. And a lot of times they'll call us to clean up the biohazard prior to their people coming in.
Wow, it must make a hell of a paper chain for you, man. How do you keep track of who to bill? But that's a whole different episode. Billing. But, so once that happens, the other question I had was furniture, mattresses, all the bulky stuff that gets contaminated. What do you do with it? What is there a special dump? Is there
Oh no, there's a law in California that's you have to be registered to do what we do as a trauma scene waste management practitioner. You have to have a license, and with that license, that allows us to go and take it into a medical waste disposal.
All right.
Okay, so it gets cremated or burned?
Depending, if it's tissue, like if someone was to shoot themselves with a shotgun and there's brain tissue and skull fragments that we clean up, that's incinerated. But any bloody rags and stuff, it's steam sterilized.
Oh, okay.
And then
Does that mean you get it back?
I've never tried.
What do they do with it after they steam sterilize it?
Then it can go to a regular dump.
So it just goes to a regular dump.
Right.
Here's your pile of steam sterilized rags.
No, we don't get it back.
I don't know if you want it back.
No.
Although you could save it if someone wants a discount job. Everything's with the steam sterilized stuff, right? There's no.
It melts everything.
So take us through, like one of the, it's going to get morbid. Take us through one of the worst ones you've ever been in.
That you can talk about. Yeah.
There's been a few. The worst ones are people who commit suicide by train. Those are the worst.
That's a terrible thing. You've told me about this before, and I had, prior to you telling me this, I had never thought about it before. But I guess it's like things people really do.
Oh, often.
Yeah, oh, that's crazy to me.
So they walk in front of the train.
Yes.
Or they just
Lay down.
Yep.
That happened by us out there.
And the train can either hit you and throw you away, and then there's some blood to clean maybe on the plow and on the locomotive. Or most likely what happens is they get caught up under the train and go all the way down 13 cars.
Oh, wow. I never thought about this. You have to clean all the way underneath 13 cars?
Yeah, so we go to the maintenance yard where they have a pit, and we can work on the trains there.
Wow, that's crazy. And then what about do they shut down the train route and you have to like immediately clean that? Because I know they can't keep the tracks closed for very long.
Right. Yeah, a lot of times we're right ahead of the corner will be here, and they'll tell us, well, you can clean up to here for right now, and yes, so we do that many times as well.
Wow.
So when that happens, you kind of go through some training.
Yes.
Training.
Light rail, heavy rail. Oh, now I get it. I'm a little slow there.
And that's why I did the old.
Yeah, you know what? That's like the joke that could. It thinks it can. It thinks it can.
So with stuff like this, you gotta have a good sense of humor, I would imagine.
Yes. You have always been, and it's always blown my mind because I've known Mike for a long time. Never seen you like you'll come home after like probably some horrendous job. I'm mad about doing whatever stupid stuff I do, and then I always think like, oh, I just came back cleaning like a whole room covered in blood, like the scene from that where the elevators open. What's that movie where the elevators? The Shining. You know, and all the blood comes out, and he's coming back from that scene, and he's like, "Hey guys, how's everybody going?
Yeah.
You're just in the best mood."
Yeah, you kind of you have to shut it off.
And then you rake some leaves, and you're like, "Son of a bitch!"
No, sorry, guys.
That's why I stopped where I stopped.
Yeah, but yeah. So, and you told me something else. Where do most people pass away?
In the bathroom, on the toilet.
That just blows my mind. Chances are, most of us are going to die on a toilet in the
That's a
bathroom.
crappy way to go.
Yeah.
Sure is.
Just make sure you get the fancy one with a seatbelt so you can just don't fall off.
So people actually die on the toilet.
A lot of people do. Yes.
And was it the cardiac
Probably. Right.
It's just
or no fiber?
Yeah, eat
Something
your
like that,
fiber.
right.
Eat your fiber
Yes.
one, all that stuff.
Holy
Don't
cow,
jump-
bran muffin.
Yeah, I guess we get so decrepit and so out of shape that even passing a bowel movement will kick your heart off. So
Yeah.
So we're back with Mike Nicholson, crime scene cleaner-upper.
guru.
What exactly? What is your job? What do you call yourself, other than stuff?
Well, on our license, it's a trauma scene waste management practitioner.
Okay, so
That's kind of
say that
long.
10 times real fast.
Right.
I was gonna say it's a terrible acronym. What
I
is
just
it?
tell people I do biohazard remediation.
That sounds better.
Biohazard remediation. I used to do remediation on gas stations with the little germs and stuff that we put down there and it cleans up contamination.
Oh, yeah.
But nothing like what you do.
No, nothing near. I picked up a dead mouse a couple weeks ago. That's about as close as I ever get to you. But I didn't kill the mouse either. It's still a mystery.
Isn't that a band?
Yeah,
Dead mouse?
Modest Mouse. Dead Mouse. Although I do think the best band name in the world would be Suicide Squirrel.
Oh, Suicide Squirrel.
When they run in front of your car or whatever, you know, that's your album cover. They're like running tail up, like just booking it as hard as they can. Did it come out the other side? You don't know. I don't know. Suicide Squirrel.
Suicide Squirrel. One of the tracks will probably be Speed Bump.
Speed bump. What's that noise? Where,
Back up and let's see what it is.
where'd it go?
What's that smell?
What's that smell? Is it coming from the trunk?
No, I don't know. I think it's stuck to the exhaust pipe.
Ooh, that kind of segues into the whole train thing.
Yes.
Anyways, let's talk about you, Mr. Mike. Let's talk about how did you ever get started doing a job like this?
Well, I was working for the Los Angeles County Coroner, and they had budget issues. I was there a few years, and just didn't get the promotion I was waiting for and promised. So after a few years of fiscal year coming around and not getting it, I decided I was going to leave. And when I gave my notice, I started talking to some people at work, and they suggested starting a crime scene cleanup business.
Now, who suggested it?
Can I say names?
First name.
First name, yeah.
Her name's Nancy, and she was one of the people who'd been there 35 years and knew what was up.
So you went to this lady, and you're like, hey Nancy, this job I have, a dead end job.
Right.
Hey,
Exactly.
dun-dun-dun.
Yeah.
And so then
These guys are stiffing me over here.
we got a million of them, folks. because it is a serious situation.
It
It's
is.
a serious subject, but you know, rather than look at the horrible things, and God bless you for doing what you're doing, because there's no way. I mean, I don't even look like to. You
The
know,
world's a definite better place for having you working in it, Mike.
yeah.
For sure.
So go ahead. We cut you off. I cut you off with a stupid joke, but
No, I was working for the corner and it wasn't productive, so they suggested doing this. And,
One person suggested it.
Yes, Nancy, and kind of took her up on it and just started researching. And I had, prior to working for the corner, I had done what's called first calls or removals for mortuaries. So I had went out to houses and picked up remains and delivered them to the mortuary, or we go to the coroner's office and pick them up and take them to the mortuary. And when I was doing removals, once in a while there would be a mess and someone would ask us, hey, do you know who could clean that up? And we would do it after anyway. So I had done a few.
Oh, like a little extra
Yes.
on the side thing? All right.
Right.
so how? Okay, so all right. So thank you for that. So how? Well, okay, let's just say a 90-year-old person passes. How messy is it? Just they went with natural causes or whatever.
Oh, then it wouldn't be messy at all. They wouldn't even need to call us.
Okay.
We only get called when someone decomposes.
That's
Oh,
important. That's
or-
important. Important distinction, so you don't get like a million
Yeah,
bad
because
calls.
we have like 4 people that watch.
Yeah.
But thank you for it.
Yes. 4 is a good start.
Yes.
Let's get to 8.
Yes. Or even 5. I'd be happy with. But anyway, so typically when someone passes, so they don't really excrete anything, or they
Not
do,
necessarily.
or not necessarily.
If
Right.
you get to them fast enough, right?
Right. And with some people, it just depends. I've gone out just for what they call purge. They'll be removing the body and they kind of, it's almost like a vomit. They'll purge, and then they've had us come out for that.
So that's a biohazard as well.
Correct.
Okay. Anything to do with body is a biohazard.
Yes.
Okay. Back when you did the mortuary pickups and whatnot, so if you had to go to a hospital, the body's already been processed by the hospital and they're
Yes.
down in the morgue and all that, and you just, so you don't have to worry about, like, I would imagine, like, people with cancer and whatnot. And I know it doesn't smell very well.
Right.
Or
But they're
nice.
usually wrapped up in a shroud and
Okay.
in the morgue. Once in a while, you do a floor pickup and getting out of the bed. But
We started talking about how you got started. So let's talk about when, like, your first couple of jobs. What were the first things you started to do when you out there in the world? You're a brand new company. Who was like calling you in the beginning? What were you first getting?
I was getting a lot of work and referrals from people that I worked with at the coroner's office.
All right, so you had some good connections.
Yes.
And it was always kind of the same thing, like you said earlier about there was a little left over after. Now, this had to exist, this market, before you
Yes.
started. Did you know anybody that was already in this market when you?
I knew of somebody, yes. That's how Nancy knew. Because that person had come soliciting to the coroner's office. So she knew about the business.
Ooh, and you started, and you were in with the coroner's department
Yes.
through the work you did and the friends you had there. Dude, that was really smart.
That lady who owned that business we became enemies right away. I took half of her business from the beginning.
Oh, I bet you did.
So you stiff.
Yeah, I guess she was a deadbeat. Anyways, so is that how this came to be? Over your squab with
Well, a lot of that's in
difference
that.
of opinions?
A lot of that's in that story. This is a fictional story that was written. An author contacted me and said, "Hey, I want to do a story about your industry."
Who's the author?
Charlie Houston,
All right.
and he said, "I want to do something about your industry. Would you be interested in talking to me?"
I can see it. I can see why you'd be fascinated with it. It is fascinating.
Everybody we've talked to, that I have personally talked to and said you were going to be on, they're like, oh, we're watching it, because it's something you really don't, you don't think about. You never think about it. You just assume that it's going to happen. You assume the garbage truck to show up. You assume somebody to sweep up the road, but, I mean, just...
A lot of people think the police or coroner do it.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, they do not. And You know, they talk about making like an instruction booklet for life. This is definitely something that should be in that instruction booklet for life. Not necessarily this book, but what to do after someone dies. It's really important.
Right. A lot of people have a hard time finding us.
They do, and so you do have a website. Now you're here, you want to give yourself a shout out again.
Yeah, let's hear it again.
Yeah, it's cleansceneservices.com. Our phone number is 877-BIOHAZARD.
Perfect.
Very cool.
So, who were your first, like, couple of calls? Were they, like, just normal, simple things, or did you get, like, crazy, weird calls? When you first started going out?
I had a suicide, and I remember they had a white carpet, and there was one drop of blood on that carpet. And I didn't want to cut that carpet out for that one drop, and I was trying to figure out what could I do. And at that point, I discovered how good hydrogen peroxide is at getting blood out, and so we were able to save the carpet on that one.
So for you murderers, you just heard.
Yeah, there you go, hydrogen peroxide.
It's not a secret. It's already out there. It really is just one
You can
Google.
Google
You
it.
can Google it. So don't go, he's giving away. You can Google it. There are other industrial stuff that you can get.
Well, that's just to
that
get it
we
out,
can't
though.
get.
Yes, that's not gonna be strong enough to kill the bacteria and the pathogens that
Oh,
you want
really?
to get rid of. So then
They
we use
use
a
that for
product.
rocket fuel. I'm surprised it's not strong enough to. They do. So what? I don't want to know. Well, you use a lot of enzymes and things that breaks down
Right.
stuff, but that's like industrial strength enzymes.
Right.
So suicide. What else did you get? I mean, it had to have been something. It must have been really weird. I mean, you start this job. You're waiting by the phone. Like, to me, it'd be like the most exciting thing in the world. You don't know what you're going to get every day.
Right.
Is it still that way now?
Yes.
So when you call,
still
I mean,
don't know what you're gonna get.
I know that death is death. Once you're gone, you're gone. But there seems to be an infinite way that people go.
It
Yes.
sounds like death is like a box of chocolates. You
Yeah.
never know what you're gonna get.
Until it kills you.
Yes.
Until you die of your peanut allergy. We're going to be a little glib.
Yes.
Anyway, so what was it like then? Were you like, from the first day it started, you were busy? Or did it slowly build up? Did it take years to get? Because I know at one point you were really bringing it in.
Right. No, right from the beginning it took off really well. Besides the contacts I had, I went to mortuaries and solicited them, and I got a lot of them. Some of them knew me from doing first calls,
Go ahead.
So they would actually, the mortuary, okay, so now that one's a good question. So you get the call from the mortuary?
A lot of times they would call and say, we have a family who had a decomposition.
Okay.
We just picked up the body. Can they give you a call?
Okay, so I'm trying to get like the chronological order. So someone dies, the family finds out. They call the coroner, or they call the police, and the police calls the coroner?
Everything's so different, because if you've been seen by a doctor within so many days, I don't know what it is now because I don't do removals, but if you've seen a doctor within so many days and the doctor knows what you died of, you don't have to go to the coroner's office.
Okay.
They only do unexpected and traumatic deaths.
So, God forbid, I'm walking down the street, I drop dead. I'm going to go to the coroner because I was fine before.
Right, unless your doctor said, oh, I know Don had a heart attack and I'll sign
Yeah,
the certificate.
he was being treated for like a bad
Right.
heart. Or,
Oh, okay. And so then the mortuary gets the family calls the mortuary calls you, and then you go and do the pickup and the cleanup. Or they do the pickup,
Yeah, I don't
and then
do
you
the
do
pickup
okay,
anymore,
that's
right.
right, you just said that, I'm sorry. So then you do the cleanup,
Right.
and then, so if it's like a rental unit, then how in depth is that? I mean, like landlords have to get involved and all that stuff, or?
Usually, we have to get their permission to remove
Okay.
whatever building materials need to be removed.
Is it done through insurance mostly?
It's done through insurance many times. It's called the trauma loss claim,
Okay.
what you would have, and so basic homeowners insurance does cover it. But most apartments that are renting to people and things like that, they just cover it themselves because they
Or
don't
like
want
hotels. Imagine hotels are probably
hotels is a big place for
Yeah,
suicide.
yeah.
Oh, I can imagine.
Yeah, just enjoy that time in your hotel because you don't know who did it in there last time.
Ask for extra towels and Mike Nicholson.
Have him call him first. Have him come clean it up.
Yep.